Alright, what's up all my viewers? Today we're bringing you a quick mail day, and by the way, just for a little bit of background on this video, this is a 1v1 I had with one of my subscribers who is a really good quickscoper. He contended with me all the way up until 12 kills, and then I put on my tryhard panties and absolutely pooped on him. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess I just started thinking about where I was going, where he was at, and stuff like that. But here is the mail day question. This is the main question. So first of all, there's this girl who wants to date this guy. And they're about the same age. She's known him for a couple years, ever since middle school. They're in high school, going into like 10th, 11th, 12th grade, somewhere in that area. And her mother doesn't approve of the relationship, or her parents. And the reason why their parents don't accept this is because of the fact that she's going to lose him as a friend. And I mean, everyone out there who's had a friend who they like and all this other stuff, you know how that goes. Once you start dating someone and then you break up with them, it's like, oh, I don't like talking to that person anymore. But here's the thing, and this is what her mother's scared of, and we're just going to go over some opportunities or things that she could do to keep him around and keep her mother happy at the same time. So the background I've written down here is that, that she likes him, he likes her, they've been friends for a long time, and they hang out a lot, which they do. They hang out a lot, is by what I've heard from the question. And but the thing is that, she wants to take the relationship to the next level. And here's my advice. This is my advice. Now, I'm not any guru in relationships or anything of that sort, but I do have my smarts about me about what to do in certain situations and ways of solving problems. I do have my smarts about that. So here's some verdicts, as I like to call them, that I like to point out and just say. And here's the first verdict, or in other words, the first answer, the first possibility. And that's basically how I'm going to go over this. I'm going to go over the possibilities and go over the choices and everything of that sort. So the first one is that you could just not tell your parents that you're dating him, or anyone for that matter. Because if you tell one person, they could tell another, and and you know how that works. Just keep him as your friend, but have a relationship just that you and him know. And if he's trustworthy enough, he'll stay with you and just say that you're friends, and he won't actually date anyone else if he's that kind of guy. If he's trustworthy, I'm not very sure. I don't know the guy. I have no idea who he is, and so that's something that you should probably look into. But basically, you could just be more than friends without your parents knowing. If you hang out a lot, there's no problem with it. I mean, what they don't know won't hurt them. And I mean, it's not like you really have to do this either. I mean, it's not like you have to always lie to them about it. Maybe you could tell them once you turn 18 or something like that. But anyways, that's just the first thing I would think of, because they wouldn't know the difference. The second thing that you could probably do is just sit down and have a talk with your parents about it, because, or maybe even you and the guy that you want to potentially date, because maybe if both of you do that, you'll show that you're determined to be with them, and it'll persuade your parents to let it go, because you're coming up to the high school end of your high. Oh my god, I so messed that up. You're coming up to the end of your high school career, and this is a time where you could take someone from your high school life and keep them for a while, because usually high school couples tend to last a lot longer than two adults who meet later on after high school. So you could just sit down and have a talk with your parents, and maybe even get the grandparents involved. There's a reason why they're your grandparents, and that's because they're your parents' parents. And old people, sometimes they have a lot of wisdom. Alright, so the third thing that I thought of is, hey, you don't have to hang out where your parents are. You don't have to. You can go out and do other things with them. Tell your parents that you're just friends, and whenever you go out, you don't have to do just friend things. You can go out and kiss them, do whatever is it that you want to do, have sex. I don't give a fuck. I mean, you can go out there and do whatever you want, but as long as your parents don't know, as far as they know, you're just friends. And personally, sometimes parents don't really need to be into the relationships. They don't really need to know. Because, I mean, a lot of times you'll get a parent that starts trying to control you, even once you're at the age of consent, even after you turn 18. Even when you're not living with them, they're still going to, you know, they're still going to be those same kind of people, probably. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know your parents, but I could tell you this is, you know, I mean, I'm at a one-on-one basis with my parents, like, so I can tell my dad or my mom just about anything. Well, I could tell more over my dad of just about anything I want to, and he's just fine with it. I could go, you know, as long as I'm on a one-on-one basis with him. And but the thing is that he's old. He's already he knows what's going on. He knows, you know, how it rolls, and you know, and that's just how it goes. And here's another verdict I had. Oh, and you can even start like going over to one of your friends' house that actually is your potential boyfriend's friend. So maybe you get another girl who he hangs out with, and you know, maybe you can all have a sleepover at her house. Don't tell your parents that he's also going to be there, you know? It's things like that. It's how you would get around this kind of thing. Another thing that you could do is just wait till you're 18. That's all there is to it. If you don't like to defy your parents, wait till you're 18. After that, they really can't dictate what kind of relationships you have. And if they do try to, you can insert your dominance as in full-fledged adult. However, that might result in you getting kicked out, but it's still a possibility. And I only have 2 more options here. And if you can't lie to your parents like that, you just need to be on a one-on-one basis with them and let them explain their reasonings to you. Just poke holes in their logic. Do whatever you can and get some family involved, you know? Because they're not the only ones who've ever had relationships. Everyone in the world has probably had some kind of experience with a relationship, and the older they are, the more relationships they've probably been in, and the older they are, usually the wiser they are about it. So, grandparents again, you know, get them in there. And if all else fails, just keep things the way that they are. You know, it's a guy. I mean, this dude, he's a guy. He's always going to be there if you're his friend, and he's been with you this long already. So maybe you could just wait for another perfect opportunity to come along and then hit it right on the nail. Just hit it. But maybe right now it's just not a good time because of your parents, and maybe because once school gets back started up, it's going to create a lot of drama. But if all else fails, that's a pretty good option because he could still remain your friend for a very long time, and it's not really smart to just throw away a friendship just because of the fact that you can't date them at the moment. Another opportunity will come around, and then you can strike with all your force. Anyways, that concludes this commentary. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like and a comment, and I'll talk to all of you later. Peace out.